Chapter 1. The door closes. The judge finishes reading. 10 years. You hear the number, but your brain refuses to process it as time. It sounds like a statistic, something that happens to other people in news articles you scroll past. Not a sentence. Not your sentence. The courtroom doesn't react the way you expected. No gasp, no drama. The bailiff is already moving. You're looking at your mother in the third row. She has both hands over her mouth. Your father is staring at the floor. He doesn't look up. That image will stay with you for 10 years. You made one decision, not a violent one, financial, a wire transfer you shouldn't have authorized. Processing takes the whole afternoon. They take your clothes, your watch, your wallet, your phone. They give you a number. Not metaphorically, an actual number that will be called instead of your name for the next 10 years. The cell is smaller than you pictured. The smell is institutional. The door closes. Not dramatically, a mechanical sound, precise, final, like a lock that is closed 10,000 times before and does not notice you at all. You sit on the edge of the bunk. You have 10 years. You have nothing else. Chapter 2. The first 90 days. Nobody tells you the rules. Not because they're hiding them, because the real rules aren't written anywhere. First week. You sit in the wrong place at lunch. You don't know it's wrong until the person whose seat it is stands behind you for 4 seconds without speaking. You move. You don't apologize. Moving fast is survival. You move. By day 40, you have learned the following. Never walk through a conversation happening in a doorway. Never ask what someone is in for. Never discuss your case. Never borrow anything in the first 3 months. Never make a promise you can't keep, because in here, a broken promise is not a social failure. It is a debt. By day 60, your body has changed internally. You sleep differently, lighter. Your nervous system has recalibrated. You wake up before doors open because your body started tracking sounds. You call home twice a week. The calls are 15 minutes. Your mother cries. Your father asks practical questions. Is the food okay? Do you have what you need? These are the only questions he knows how to ask. By day 90, you are no longer new. You haven't become anything yet, but you've stopped being nothing. You understand the room you're in. You are still afraid. You will be afraid for a long time. But fear here is not a weakness. It's information. Chapter 3. You build a position. Survival is temporary. Position is permanent. You have something most people in here don't. Education. You can read legal documents. You can write a coherent argument. In here, these are rare enough to be valuable. One man asks you to look at his appeal documents. You find 2 procedural errors his public defender missed. 6 months later, his sentence is reduced by 18 months. He tells people. Word moves in here faster than you expect, and with more detail than you'd like. Within 4 months, you have a quiet reputation. Not a loud one. Quiet reputations attract resources. Loud reputations attract problems. You also learn to be useful in a different way. You are calm, genuinely calm. In a place where emotions detonate regularly, a man who stays level is valuable. People talk to you, ask what you think. You become the person whose opinion is sought before decisions are made. You are deliberately unaffiliated. Affiliation means obligations. Obligations mean being pulled into conflicts that aren't yours. You are neutral territory. Everyone can approach you. No one owns you. By the end of year 2, you have a position. Not power, a position. A reason to exist in this ecosystem beyond just occupying space. Chapter 4. Time becomes the enemy. Year 3 is when time changes. Some days are geological. They last so long, they feel like they've always been happening. Other days disappear without you noticing. You realize on a Thursday that you don't remember Tuesday. Not because anything happened to Tuesday, because Tuesday was identical to Monday and Wednesday, and your brain decided not to store the duplicate. Your family visits less. Not because they stopped caring, because watching you in here hurts them, and they don't know what to say anymore. Your girlfriend writes through year 1. The letters get shorter, then further apart. Then one arrives that is clearly the product of several rewrites and says everything gently and is still devastating. You read it twice, fold it, put it in the back of a book you never open again. You learn to compress emotion. You feel everything. You just feel it in a smaller window. 15 minutes in the morning before the block wakes up. Then you close it. The rest of the day, you operate. People on the outside will later call you cold. You are not cold. You are engineered for a different climate. Chapter 5. The Power Shift. Year 4, you stop being a resource and start being a reference point. You now understand this prison completely. Not the way a guard understands it. Guards understand the official architecture. You understand the actual one. You know which cell block has the loosest overnight supervision. You know which guard is 2 weeks from retirement. You know which inmate has connections outside that make him more valuable than his sentence suggests. New inmates come to you before they come to anyone else. Not for legal documents anymore, for orientation, for the invisible rulebook. You give them what you were never given. Year 5, your case goes back before a review board. Good behavior. The legal arguments from your appeal, 2 of which you wrote yourself. The board reduces your sentence, 18 months off the back end. 10 years becomes 8.5. In here, 18 months is not a number. It is weather. It is seasons. It is time that now doesn't exist. You allow yourself 1 evening to feel what that means. Then you close it. Return to operating. Chapter 6. The Incident. It happens in year 6. You don't see it start. You hear it. A specific sound your nervous system now recognizes as a precursor. By the time you turn around, it is already past the point where it can be talked down. You are not involved. For approximately 40 seconds, you are not involved. Then, geography involves you. There is a decision point that lasts 2 seconds. The decision you make is the decision you would make again. Afterward, there is a lockdown. 31 days. 23 hours a day in your cell. In the 31 days, you think about your father more than you've allowed yourself to in years. You think about decisions that branch, moments where a different choice created a different timeline where you are somewhere else, doing something ordinary and completely unaware of how fortunate you are. You do not spiral. You come close. You get through it the same way you've gotten through everything. 1 day at a time. 1 hour, if necessary. When the lockdown ends, you walk back into the general population. Something has changed. Not visibly, but something internal has reorganized permanently. You are not broken. You are rebuilt on a different foundation. Chapter 7. The Final Year. Year 8 and release becomes a real object, and the fear starts. This surprises you. You expected relief as the number got smaller. Instead, you get a new fear with a different shape. You are good at this. Not good in the sense that you enjoy it, good in the sense that you have mastered it. Out there, the skills that kept you alive become liabilities. The hypervigilance, the compressed emotion, the constant environmental scanning. These are survival tools that don't translate. You watch a man who has been inside 19 years get released 3 months before your date. He comes back 11 weeks later. Not a violation. He asked to come back. He stood in a supermarket for 40 minutes, unable to process the number of choices in the cereal aisle. You understand exactly why he came back. You are terrified of understanding exactly why he came back. Your father died in year 5, heart attack. You attended the funeral with an escort, handcuffed in the back of a vehicle. You sat at the back of the church and watched your family grieve and could not reach any of them. That is the thing about doing time. The world doesn't stop. People get sick, things happen. You come out the other side and the world has a new shape, and you have to find your place in something you didn't participate in building. Chapter 8. The door opens. They return your things in a plastic bag. Your watch still works. Your wallet has your ID, now expired. $40. A receipt from a coffee shop dated 8.5 years ago. You don't remember the coffee. The door opens. The same mechanical precision as when it closed. It does not notice you. The air is the first thing. There is too much of it. Outside air moves. It has temperature variation. It smells like multiple things simultaneously. Your body hasn't processed unrestricted air in 8.5 years and doesn't know what to do with the information. You stand on the pavement. Cars pass on a road 30 meters away. The speed of them is wrong. Everything that moves out here moves at a pace your nervous system reads as slightly threatening. You have a phone number for the halfway house, a bus route, $40 and an expired ID. The bus arrives. You sit near the back, old habit. You can see everything between you and the door. 3 people glance at you, ordinary glances. Your body reads each one as a potential threat and prepares a response before your brain overrides it. This will happen for months. The halfway house is a narrow building on a street with other narrow buildings. 6 men, shared kitchen, curfew at 10. A caseworker named Marcus who has the particular patience of someone who stopped being surprised by anything years ago. You sit on the edge of the bed. This is familiar. This exact geometry. Edge of a small bed in a small room. This you know how to do. Outside this room is a city that spent 8.5 years becoming a stranger to you. Outside this room, your mother is waiting to have dinner on Saturday. Outside this room is a future with no blueprint and no rules you've had years to study. Outside this room, you are nobody again. You were nobody when the first door closed too. You built something from that. You can build something from this. The door to your room is closed, but it is not locked. You can open it whenever you want. That is new. That is everything. 10 years. 1 decision. 1 man. This is what time actually costs.